you're somewhere in your 20s or your 30s. You want to take it seriously. You want to learn. You want to grow. But there's so fucking much to keep up with. And it's also just a challenge in itself in a big city or anywhere to like pay rent and survive. So I think about that person that's listening to this and it's like, cool, great. Like must be nice to have rental properties and to have all these pillars of financial freedom and set up all this financial independence. But like, where do you start?
I do think that people's first real investment should be a home.
Wow.
That's just hard. It is hard in LA, I realize, in places like New York or LA or whatever, because stuff is so expensive, you know?
Yeah.
But I've done the math on renting versus owning, you know, in the long run. And you just do so much better owning the place that you live in the long run. And honestly, even though getting into real estate in LA is such a tough thing, like if you can do it, it usually pays off like ridiculously off. You know what I mean?
Like
in the
with
long
that
run.
higher difficulty and risk comes a higher reward and yield.
Higher reward, exactly.
This
That's
is great,
really challenging. But to have $1 to $5,000, you know, it could seem like, oh man, I am really far away, and you know, probably yes, you are. You're farish away. But you can get into properties like if you're a first time buyer, you can get in as low as 3.5% down using FHA mortgages, which is basically like a government program that fosters home ownership for citizens and basically helps you to get into loans or get into a property with less down payment. So if you're going to try to buy a condo maybe for $500,000.
Well, let's be real. I was just looking at Zillow. I think the base level in LA right now of like modest condo is 700.
Yeah. Oof,
yeah,
man.
100%.
It has got since we left 2008. I thought COVID actually prices would come down, but it was just crazy. I mean, it just went bananas.
Legitimately, dude. I was looking at Zillow last night. And this is a great conversation. I love this because I am of that mindset and I have not been able to do that yet. So I can speak not only as a proxy listener, but myself. But I saw legitimately a lot of land, just a lot of dirt for $550,000. The like 1 to 2 bedroom condo that looks like your first starter apartment in anywhere, like not even like a crazy nice area, but like in actual Los Angeles, 700 is a deal of a lifetime, probably closer to 8. So then what is that?
That is tough. I mean, it just makes it hard. But if you think like, let's say 3.5% of that is $25,000.
Yep.
So it's not totally unachievable. You know what I mean? You could also, you know, first time you're buying is maybe buy with a friend. I know that comes with its own issues, but it's like it's not uncommon to share a rental, right? You know, with a friend. I mean, obviously you can sort of maybe get out of that a little bit easier, but if you have enough of a trusted friend or, you know, whomever, you could go in and split a 2-bedroom. Like that might be a way. And then eventually you move out and you rent half it, whatever. You know, your goal is, I think, get into a starter thing and then build your real estate by renting that out and then moving on and buying something else. That's what I did. I mean, it was tough for me to get I bought my first place in LA. It was $460,000 and I got in for 5% down and I just managed to make it happen. But I focused all my savings towards that. When you're saving for the house, you want the money to be there, you know, when the time comes. And if you take that savings and invest it in the market, it might not be there like right when you need it. You know, you might end up having more, frankly, if you get lucky when you need it and you make a profit. But the market is very volatile. That said, the market is down significantly right now. Like this is a good time, honestly, to take the bet. If you're like, I want to buy a house, I've got $5,000, I'm not ready. What should I do with the $5,000? This is a good time to make a bet that if you put that money in the market, it would actually be worth more in 2 years. Not that I'm a licensed financial advisor. I'm not even a CPA or lawyer, but you know, I would invest your money now if you have it in cash, probably in the market.
So you gave me a wild card answer that I actually love, and I'm glad you said it, because to me, the idea of living in a city like this and being able to buy a house is just like absolutely foreign. So just you saying there are programs available where you can put 3.5% down, and breaking that down, taking $700,000 and being like, yeah, $25,000. Like all of a sudden a number that sounds absolutely absurd of like, I can't buy you would kind of think about like buying that cash and you're like, never. Mm-hmm. And then you hear that and it's like, okay, like the person that has $1,000 to $5,000 set aside, like that's still too far away. But when you actually think of it, it's like, okay, well, no, but that's maybe a little more attainable than you think. And that's encouraging advice. I like that.
And then if you're like, all right, a 1-bedroom 700, maybe a 2-bedroom's 9, but I can go in partners with someone on that. Now I'm in for 450 times 3%. I only need 15 grand potentially.
Right. Yeah. So I love just you saying that, and like looking at real estate in a little bit more of an open-minded, creative way is cool to me, because I think we could both agree that most every successful person, or I guess you could say people that have accomplished financial independence, probably have some amount of their portfolio in real estate.
Yes.
So getting 100%. Started early seems like a good thing.
Before you think it's possible, you have to commit to it in your mind, and if it takes 2 or 3 years, that's okay. But like, you have to be planning, you know what I mean? You have to be like, I'm laser focused on buying property. I know it's good for me. I know it's what I need to do. So I'm going to like focus my savings plan towards that.
That's really beautiful.
What I'm doing.
I like that a lot. And I'm glad you shared that, because like legit for me, it's a crazy reminder of like, oh no, like maybe that is a little closer than you think. And then all of a sudden every month, instead of paying your rent and not having any, like, there's nothing at the end of that. Whereas a house, you're giving yourself shelter and you're kind of leaning into an investment. So that's cool. I remember a friend's dad gave me, like, he just like basically told me, I think at the time it was early 2010s, and I think he said to expect 7% return. And he's like, I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but like throw $1,000 into that and like kind of just watch it. And you watch it turn to like 1,100 and you're like, oh my God. And it's not life-changing. But the thing that I hear a lot of people talk about, which is cool, is like with an IRA, like a Roth IRA or something like that. Like I think at 25 years old, if you were to put 5 into it for 5 years, that's like 25 grand. And then if you were to let that compound, by the time you could pull it out at like 65, compound interest at that rate projects you out to be more than a millionaire. And that's another like one of those like encouraging ones to me. In both of those examples, it's pretty cool to realize that just by being young and getting over that little first hump, that money ends up being crazy leverage years later. And that's pretty exciting. That when that concept clicked for me, that like what I considered that like wealthy, successful people would consider peanuts, it was like, oh no, like just getting over that hump and that little bit to get started is monumental, especially using young age as leverage.
Yeah, youth is honestly your greatest asset in building wealth and, what eventually be either your financial freedom, nest egg, or retirement nest egg. I mean, you cannot get that time back. That compounding time is like really, really important. But, I admit when you're young, you're also making the least amount of money. You know what I mean? You're trying to get your footing. So it is a hard time. It's like, it's difficult. I admit that, well, I always say people need to treat their personal financial life like a business. What I mean by that is, on the basic level, it's like, you got to do your bookkeeping for your business. You got to know if your business is making money, but you also, when you have a business, you have a plan to make money. Right. And you model that out, you put that on paper, and you try to live up to that plan. And then you adjust for that plan along the way. And you need to do that in your life as well. Like you can't just take what comes to you in terms of your job and the money you make and all that sort of stuff. You have to take the bull by the horns. And you have to look at like, all right, for the things I like to do, where can I make the most money? What kind of place should I be at? Where should I be looking to get a job at? Like, should I work freelance? Should I not? Can I make more money that way? Like if I decide to do a freelance thing, maybe I could actually make more money because I'll save a lot in taxes because I'll be a business. You really need to like take your life and your future seriously and go on serious offense when you're young.
That was a short clip from the latest episode of Where Are All My Friends? I hope you liked it. If you did, the full episode is out now and available anywhere where podcasts can be watched or listened to. So go check it out.